Hi everyone, and welcome to the Weekly Woo. This week we have a full moon on the 29th. So really the energy, it's going to be building, if it isn't already, to this super moon. It's the last super moon of the year and it's in the sign of Aries. And what a super moon means is basically the moon is closest to the earth that it can become. It's called the perigee. This is also the full moon that launches us into eclipse season. We'll have 2 eclipses in October. Now, let me just get some announcements out of the way and then we can really dive into this with some animal allies and mineral allies and plant allies and I can get into more of the astrology. But I just want to say, I had a lot of people contact me about sessions. And some people were still using the website. So I just want to say again, email me at info@thegoodwoo if you're interested in a private session. The website is probably going to be dissolved at some point within the next 3 months. It's just sort of a taster to sort of see what the Good Woo has been about. And it does have a menu. But a lot of things are changing for me in the Good Woo. And I will be launching an entirely different project that has nothing to do with the woo soon. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so a super moon in the sign of Aries. Full moons are always about illumination, but they can also be about completion. And if you watched the video last week, you know that we have a grand Earth trine in the sky right now, and it's still going to be in effect for this week and this full moon. That means that the decisions we're making, because oh man, we are really being pushed to make some life-altering choices, be that changing jobs, moving, friends, beginning friendships, ending friendships. Same thing with romantic relationships, familiar relationships. It really boils down to, especially this summer, being this period of time where we really reevaluated what our values are, what we hold important, evaluating the kind of friend, family member, lover, parent, child we want to be. And now we move forward in this fall season with these sort of aha moments that, well, you just can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And you're not going to be able to forget these revelations you had about yourself and about your life and about how you want to go forward. So we're being pushed to make really big life changes, lifestyle changes. And hopefully that's for the better, right? We have Uranus right now, which is in a beautiful alignment with Mercury, and it's going to be in a beautiful alignment for this full moon. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about astrology, I'll just speak in sort of simpler terms. The ability to communicate these revelations and epiphanies you're having about how you want to live, the freedom you want to embody, the changes you want to make, we're really supported right now. And it could surprise a lot of people. There could also be a lot of people in your life who are surprising you with big changes that they're making. So this is sort of a universal energy that we're all experiencing. Uranus is also square Venus. And this means that shakeups, breakups in relationships, but also it can mean, sort of the other end of that spectrum, which is suddenly finding a love that finally speaks to your values, your needs, and also again it's more of like what was happening in the summer of these epiphanies about maybe even it's how you feel about money, how you're relating to abundance and prosperity or romantic love or friendship. But now you get to really act on these revelations. I really love this energy of Uranus. It's, it's the outside of the box thinker. It's the outlier. It's being ahead of the zeitgeist. It's, thinking outside of the box. And this is where genius lies, in my opinion. And I always suggest to my clients, friends and family who like come to me when they're like, what's going on with astrology, even though they like don't even like believe in it or whatever. But when stuff's going weird, it's always good to just get out ahead of it. Make the changes now. Take, a new, say if you like walk to school or walk to work, like take a new route, drive a new route, go to a new coffee shop, change up your diet. Because we have Mercury in Virgo, and Mercury's been in Virgo for so long, it's really allowed us, and Virgo is the sign of healing the stomach, self-healing, health, holistic health, natural healing, allowing the body to heal itself. It's a great time to continue to make those diet changes, those lifestyle changes. I do want to say with this full moon, with all this Uranus energy, plan ahead for your sleep, because I'm already experiencing there's just a little edge to this full moon and the energies at play as we lead up to it, where you're just going to need more rest because of how dynamic and quick paced the next week could be. And let's just get into some cards and see what else comes up. I'm going to start with our mineral ally, since I've been talking about this grand earth trine in the Scorpio and Virgo and Taurus. If you have those in your chart, your personal planets, this is really a time where you're going to feel very supported. Again, with a grand earth trine, it's a good time to focus on resources, finances, all things to do with earth, gardening, planting, getting out in nature, allowing, when we have all this intense Uranus energy, changes and fast changes and things changing, in a way that maybe you could foresee them happening, but when the change actually happens, you may feel like the rug's been pulled out from under you. Remember, go into nature, get barefoot, get out into nature. It will help you acclimatize to the shifts in your life. It's a soothing balm, and it's there for us. Okay, mineral ally, what's it gonna be? Okay, that was way too many, but I'm gonna take the one that was on top. There's two that were on top that I think are going to speak to us this week. Let's see. Sodalite. This is a blue stone with embedded white within it. It's generally a stone. The sign of Sagittarius rules it, which means it's also a stone of Jupiter. Jupiter is in Taurus right now. Again, talking about that earth sign, the earth energy, the grounding, the stability, to harness these changes for long term. It is, even though these changes may be quick and fast, there's something very long term about them. Like if you're ending relationships, they're going to end. They're probably not going to have, a resurrection. The same thing with, just decisions to end things, to move on from things. These are final decisions that are happening. So let's read about sodalite. It's an indigo color. This indigo, some sodalite can be quite dark blue though too. So I'm going to talk about the third eye and the throat chakra. Third eye is generally indigo color, this energy center, and the throat is generally a darker or royal blue. So this is saying to us right now, off the bat, your intuition is going to be heightened this week. And to work with the colors of indigo and blue, when you're meditating, imagine that this center is growing and expanding, and that color indigo is, encompassing your entire head. And then, let it go and see what comes up for you. Also with the throat chakra, we're having these intuition, we're making these changes. Mercury is in a really good placement, even though things are going to be sort of rapid and all over the map. Speaking your truth. And I do want to encourage you guys, we live in an age with social media where it's really easy to spin the half truth, to sort of be on display rather than actually revealing what's truly happening. And I feel like this is one of the things that we were dealing with this summer, is this idea of like, okay, well, what is real? What are my true values? What do I really value in a friendship? Am I being told the truth, and am I telling the truth? And this full moon, I feel like a lot of people are going to be facing that karma, the personal karma of maybe I want to change and be somebody who's more honest with myself and other people. But also a lot of people standing up and being like, no, I actually I can't engage unless the other is being transparent with me. And that's not always something we can control, but it is something that you can ask for. And I want to encourage you guys to do that this week. So Sodalite, it stimulates imagination, visualization, clairvoyance, inspiration, and wisdom. It encourages you to take time to fantasize, daydream, and think in unlimited ways, right? Outside of the box. It reminds you that the pictures envisioned in your mind can eventually manifest in the tangible world. And this is really what we have right now, right? We have these connections between Mars and Uranus and Venus, and really allowing us to think in new, transformative ways, to really visualize and like it says, like daydream about what it is you want instead of what you don't want. And then we have this luscious, fertile earth trine that gives us that fertile soil, energetic soil to actually plant these ideas and these dreams and these visualizations. Affirmation for the week. I am the creator of my reality. I use my imagination to visualize what I want in my life so it can then be realized. So again, the desires that we're given, what we want, those true desires that we feel like, okay, if I was to make this happen, I know I would feel so fulfilled. I would feel so good. They are there because we're meant to have these things. And I'm not so much talking about material objects, but at the same time, it's a material world, and there's nothing wrong with valuing luxury and wanting to live a certain way for yourself, for your own specific desires. Not looking at like what everybody else is doing, but for you, what do you really want? Some of the times I think we have these desires and ideas of what we want, and then if you really sit with it, you may realize that it's actually something that was more sort of programmed into you to want it, right? Which is happening all the time. Our next mineral ally is scenic jasper. Change of scenery. I just love that change is here in this card, because that's really what we're going through, this massive metamorphosis. And when I talk about these changes, these aha moments, this is not going to make sense to you guys who don't understand astrology or study it, but Pluto's square the nodes, which are in Aries and Libra. This is deep. Pluto is deep, depth, volcano, the deep, dark secrets. It's the underbelly. It's the underworld of ourselves. And so these changes that we're making involve that level of depth, that level of emotional surrender, that level of, example that's coming to my mind is like, we all have different levels of trauma, and we've all experienced pain and loss, betrayal, heartache, longing, all of these things, the helplessness that just can come with being a human being. There's something about these changes that we're making that are taking that understanding and moving forward with our lives boldly, proudly, wildly anyway. Knowing that it's sort of like the idea of like you've been brokenhearted, betrayed so many times, but you're like, but I really want true love. So no, I'm going to jump into it again. There's a fearlessness to this energy. And sort of, I always say the people I love the most are like the people who like you can call when like shit's just really gone down. Like people who are good with funerals and when people get really sick, and like who aren't afraid to be in like the mess of life. this is an opportunity to fully embrace that you are immortal, that this is fleeting, that anything can happen, and yet still make choices to move forward and follow your bliss. Tea break. Scenic jasper comes in an assortment of colors, patterns, and textures, bringing to mind the surface of a topographical globe. It's funny, Asher and I are just getting into the different kinds of maps. I love this, that topographical globe come up. It urges you to explore new horizons, especially if you feel bored or stuck in a rut. Perhaps it's time to do some traveling, change jobs, move to a different residence, or simply try something new. It can bring fresh energy into your life. I love it when these mineral allies and plant allies and, how these cards speak to us about the nature around us, what Creator has created, and they support what I've said at the beginning when it comes to what the stars are doing. I love how everything is connected in this way. I don't know about you guys, but when it connects this specifically in a reading like this, whether it's for the collective that I'm doing now or whether it's for a client or even for myself personally, I love the synchronicity of this. And it means that we really have to lean into the change and to see it as bringing fresh energy into your life. We just had the fall equinox, which is a time when actually the truth is there is a ton of cosmic energy that rushes into the magnetosphere of the planet because there's these like rips in it when we're in the equinox, both spring or autumn, and there's equal day and night. We just get this influx of cosmic energy, of energy from the sun. And it can be quite destabilizing because the whole point of the equinox is to find balance. But how can you find balance if you're not being pushed over, right? So bring that fresh energy into your life. I tell clients all the time, I'm like, buy new underwear and new socks and throw out anything with a hole in it. That's simple. See what happens. Buy some new sheets and some new towels and some new dish towels. Throw out the rest that are old and see what happens. Vacuum, sweep, clean the toilet every day. It is a great life hack. Changes things energetically in every way. Make sure you're changing your sheets at least once a week. And clean under the bed and the sofa. Okay, we are now going to move to the Oracle of the Trees. This is a beautiful and very simple deck. So what plant ally is here to guide us this week as we move into this very powerful super moon, the last of 2023? The Sitka spruce. Wow, look at that. We've never pulled this card, and I've actually never pulled this for a client. The number is 27. This number 27 could be somehow influential for you this week. If you see that, it's a heads up. Pay attention to what's happening. And 2 and 7 are 9. So 9 could be another number that's coming up. 9 is a number of completion, of cycles completing. So that's very much along the lines of what a full moon is. It is an illumination and it's a completion of a cycle. Illuminating how you're completing it. And yet, here's the thing, you have all this energy to begin something new. So there is this kind of, things are going to be ending and then like things rapidly changing and starting because you've initiated that end. Okay, the Sitka spruce is a type of spruce that reaches the greatest heights. It can grow up to nearly 230 feet, almost 300 feet, some of it. Wow. Key words for this tree: positivity, energy, luck, opportunity, resources, important choices, great potential. Now is the time to choose your path. Be thankful for the opportunities presented to you and follow your instinct, right? We've been told, your intuition is going to be needed, useful, and on point. And changes are coming, new opportunities are coming in. you know, as an actor, I'm really looking forward to the fact that maybe the writer's strike is about to end. This could be really great, you know, things moving forward. But even if it doesn't, you know, happen, there's still all this energy, at least in my life, where like things are really popping. And it's a lot, you know, I'm having to really alter my daily routine to fit in everything I need to fit in to be maximizing the opportunities that are so rapidly coming in. And I think we're really all facing that. The bottom of the deck is the peach tree. Now this is interesting because that is a symbol of romance and coming. And we had that last week too, where, you know, we were told to open our heart, one of the last cards that came out. And I feel like, and you know, I think our heart is going to be opened in surprising ways this week in all different kinds of relationships. All right. Now we are moving to our animal ally this week. I mean, they just, okay. I'm going to just take this one because it's the one that fell out. Frog spirit. This is another call to harness your intuition that the sodalite brought up. And, you know, actually it's interesting. This Mercury, because it's in Virgo, Neptune is in Pisces, and these two signs are opposite, which means that how we communicate, right? Mercury, communication technology, what we're writing, what we're reading, what we're thinking, is in direct opposition with Neptune. The high vibe of Neptune is like, oh, you know, like overarching, like thoughts of unity, mysticism, spirituality, religion at its highest form. Like I said before, you know, last week I was talking about this Neptune energy. It's creativity, it's photography, it's cinematography, it's, you know, fantasy, in the ways in which these things inspire us to be closer to our soul. The negative aspects of Neptune, drugs, alcohol, you know, addiction, overdoses, disease, viruses, plagues, lying, deceit, betrayal, fog, mental fog. So this opposition can be something that sends you higher, allowing you to bring your dreams literally into the material realm as you use that earth trine. Or it can be a situation where you're letting these lower Neptunian urges to escape, to numb out, to, you know, default to not wanting to take responsibility. And it can actually, you know, the fertile ground can turn into mud and you can be really stuck and you can miss some of this juicy energy. So clear out the clutter is the key words to the frog. And I really feel like, and it's holding this like blue sort of indigo ball. It's like the clutter of the mind. When you look at yourself in the mirror, when you just pass yourself in the mirror, what do you say to yourself? You're like, God, you look tired. Or like, are you looking at yourself and being like, I love you, you're doing great. Like, and I know that seems like maybe, I don't know, base, mundane, silly, or whatever. I don't know what it seems like. But those moments matter. And we are really indoctrinated in at least Western society, which is what I can speak to because this is where I've grown up, with some really negative self-talk. You know, sarcasm is considered like a high form of humor, which is actually like a mild form of like bullying ourselves and other people. There's a lot of like lifting up verbiage that is actually quite hurtful. And, you know, the whole thing of social media where it just gets really sad to me is, you know, some of the hate that is spewed. And I just feel like when it says clear out the clutter in this card, it's like, what do you need to clear out of your daily routine? Because Mercury is in Virgo, which is about the daily routine and health, that is getting in the way of you being able to access this higher octave of Neptune. The inspiration, the connection to your spirit, the ability to envision your dreams manifesting. You can't do that if you're spewing hate towards yourself in a mirror when you pass it, or others. So the clutter is the clutter of the mind. Now, it's really hard to refresh one's mental patterning when your house is a mess, your bathroom is dirty, your socks have holes in them, your car smells like, whatevs. So I know for me, I can't sit down and do creative work if the dishes aren't clean, if the toilet's not clean, if the bed's not made. And this is something I really learned early on because I'm such a hyper person and sensitive person. It's a hard combo sometimes. That if your environment is in order, your mind is more likely to follow. If your environment is in disorder, you're gonna have a really hard time discerning what mentally is working, what isn't. Frog spirit is also a wonderful totem because they live in water and they live in land. Water representing our deep feelings and emotions that we've been talking about, that depth of really looking our trauma in the face, really looking our fear of death in the face, embracing the pain of being human instead of running from it, numbing from it. And then this ability, to also be on land. Again, back to this earth trine. You can't build a solid foundation if you're not willing to look at the depths, right? When you're building a house, the foundation, you have to dig down before you can build up. So I want to encourage you guys with this full moon to do the work to really acknowledge how you're feeling. If you're not acknowledging how you're feeling, I just don't see how you could be having healthy relationships, because maybe there's some things you need to say that intuitively changes you need to make so that you can bring fresh energy into your life, so that you can grow 300 feet tall to be your biggest, best, awesome, happy, fulfilled frog self. Intuitive, happy, hopping self. I love frogs. They were one of the first, when I was growing up in Singapore, I hated school. And one of the things I loved was at recess, I would go out and, it was Singapore, and there were still patches of nature there at that time. And I would go out and catch frogs and toads of all different kinds. And that was how I spent my recess. And there is something about their energy, which is very much where we are with this Uranus, what's going to happen? What am I going to need to do? What am I going to do? When they jump, right? There's that moment of, oh my God, that's the vibe of this week. And I want you guys to, stay in your attitude of gratitude so that what is coming is going to attach to that high vibration of gratitude. There's no higher vibration. When you're feeling down and it's getting ick, think of 5 things you're grateful for, and I promise you that shift occurs. Think of 5 more. That shift's going to even deepen itself and get you out of that funk and get you into a perspective where you can catch the light. So I hope this resonates for you guys. If you'd like a private session, I am accepting clients right now. info@thegoodwoo.org is how to get in touch with me. And if you guys enjoyed this reading, join us over on Patreon. I'm going to go into depth, pull some different cards, get more into this change that we're talking about. What specifically are these changes about? And I'm wishing you guys an awesome week and a great full moon and a beautiful fall. And, we'll stay in touch with these collective readings. Thanks so much.